Welcome to the Money Mentors Podcast.
The sky is falling. The sky is falling. No, there's tariffs. They're making the economy fall. They're making the economy fall. Nope. Just a minute. Be patient. We'll let you know.
Yeah, Gary Mattson, Gerald Green, your money mentors here at Mattson Financial Services. We have a lot to talk about on today's show. Gary, a lot of the analysts out there are saying right now, yeah, the sky is falling. And it might seem like that when you tune in on a particular day to one of the financial networks right now. I'm sure you're probably getting a lot of questions about the market, aren't you?
Actually, what we're getting is people asking us, what are we doing to change our portfolio so we can take advantage of what's going on in the market? At Mattson Financial Services, we don't just do a 60-40 portfolio of stocks and bonds. We're tactical investing, meaning that when the market moves, we're in a position that we can take advantage of that. Now, the reason our clients can do that is because they hold assets other than just stocks and bonds. You know, we talk a lot about diversification, and diversification just isn't talking about what assets you're holding, but it's also about different investment strategies, which we're going to talk about more throughout the show.
It's a matter of having a plan, and what I preach to my clients is we always need options. The market's going to go up and down. We're on a 24-hour news cycle. What's most important is what positions do you have to be able to adapt or call that audible when life happens or when you see market volatility like we've seen in the last few weeks.
I was reading in Market Watch this week, guys, a question from one of their readers. He's a guy who's in his late 50s. He's getting closer to retirement. And I think especially for this group in particular, it is a little concerning when you start to see the market head into correction territory like what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Because after all, when you start to see losses of 10%, then maybe it starts to creep closer to 15 or 20. You know, it gets a little bit scary because that's significantly more money than what you had, say, in your 20s or 30s as an investor. So for someone out there like this reader who asks, you know, hey, is it time for me to freak out about this? I mean, how do you approach it differently for someone who's getting ready for retirement, especially with your investment philosophy and how you do things differently there?
What we've been doing for, let's just say, the past year, we think about 2024 and how the market was up almost 20% for the year. Well, myself, what I was working with my clients as we were reviewing accounts and actively, and like Gary said, tactically managing their portfolios, what I was looking to do is harvest those gains throughout the year, right? You hear a lot of, well, it's just money on paper. Well, not if you're actually managing your assets. If you've got 6 or 7% of growth inside of a couple or 3 months, there's nothing wrong with taking that growth and putting it to the side. We never know how far up the markets are going to go or when it's going to start to come back down. But by actively managing, by making sure that you're collecting and harvesting that growth, that's going to give you an option that when we do see down markets like we've seen the past 3 weeks, now gives you an option that we get excited. I get excited like I know Gary does when he sees the red on the screen. We can go in and buy, right? That's that active management that our clients have come to know and understand as we work through the process with them. It's about understanding their plan, what are their goals, what are their desires, and make sure we're managing their assets and managing that plan along with what is going on in their life.
Yeah, if you've been investing for 15, 20, 25 years through your 401k, your mutual funds, your IRAs, all that, and you're doing the same thing, expecting different results, let's face it, that's the sign of insanity. In other words, that I'm just going to hang on and wait for it to come back. That's not management. That is insanity. So what we want to talk about and make sure that you have the availability to understand what can be done different. You can react to your portfolio if it's properly set up differently than you ever done before. That means that you can take an advantage of the markets when they change, whether it goes up or down, like Gerald said, whether it's up or down, you can take advantage of that. And that's where I, as an advisor, but also I'm an investor just like you, when the market goes down 10% or greater, quite frankly, that's when I get giddy, because now we can see opportunities that we otherwise didn't see. If the market's going up 10, 15, 20%, and I didn't change anything, that's a wonderful thing. But like Gerald said, you got to be prepared of when to take money and set it along the sidelines or in different investments. But when it's down 10, 15, 20% and you're buying in, think if you did that every time the market went down 25% or greater, what would your portfolio look like? But you're not doing that. Why? Because you don't have the tools to do that.
Real life lessons about your retirement. You're listening to the Money Mentors Podcast.
Well, here's one advantage to a falling stock market right now. MarketWatch says these market dips may be a really good opportunity to do a Roth conversion, especially if you were considering one anyway. So why is that, guys?
With a down market, like we had touched on previously, it's always good to buy low, right? Mm-hmm. In a traditional IRA, if you do that, you're getting the same growth, but let's just say you get an extra 5 or 10% on that growth. Then if you just rode the market out, if you can buy low, now that additional growth that you've earned is subject to taxes. Well, if you can take those IRA dollars, move it into a Roth IRA, and buy with tax-free dollars, not only are you getting the same growth in this scenario, apples to apples, but now that growth that you've earned, you're not paying taxes on that. Mm-hmm. That money has been in the Roth. It's been converted to the Roth. So now your principal is tax-free and that growth is tax-free. Taking advantage of a down market with Roth dollars is almost like double dipping on Uncle Sam. If I have clients that are in that position to be able to do that conversion, keeping some money in their pocket, trying to stop more from going to Uncle Sam, that's a win-win situation in my book.
Gary, that's
Gerald,
kind of
you're
fun.
so right because, again, when it comes to those dollars that you have, IRA dollars, as Gerald said, are taxable now. Let's say that your $10,000 went down and now it's only worth $9,000. You take it out of the IRA, you expose it to taxes. The taxes are $9,000, not $10,000. So $9,000, we pay the taxes on that $9,000. We reinvest that into the Roth. That market now goes back up to what it was originally. You made that $1,000 back, plus you're not paying taxes on it for the rest of your life. So what Gerald said, it's so important to look at now. We're not going to have this conversion privilege that much longer. I think with the next presidency voting, we're going to see this go away. So it's so important to take advantage of it now. And it doesn't mean you have to do this if you're only in retirement. It could be a great time to do it while you're still working.
Want weekly lessons from your money mentors? Yes. Hit the subscribe button now and listen every weekend on Wood Radio.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Fee-based financial planning and investment services are offered by Matson Financial Services, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Lakeview Financial Group, LLC, Matson Financial Services, LLC, and Lakeview Financial Group are affiliated. To find out if Matson Financial Services is licensed in your state, please call 800-536-8907.